Hey everybody!
Hey everybody! Welcome back. Boy, it has been a while, right? It's been almost a month since we've done a live stream.
At least a month.
At least a month since we've done a live stream.
Yep.
So we're back. Today has been quite a day getting ready for everything here on the homestead. We are under really the biggest winter storm warning that we've had in the 9 years that we've lived here in Missouri, and it's coming tomorrow whether we're ready for it or not.
Yep.
So we spent pretty much the entire day today getting ready for it.
Yeah, you did actually most of the work outside.
You were getting ready inside.
Yeah. Well, we want to show you the weather map that we're seeing. This is the latest update.
Right. So all day long they've been saying we're going to get 8 to 12 inches of snow, and then just in the last couple hours they changed it, and we're actually now in the 12 to 16 inch area. Yes. So that is a lot of snow.
Since we've been here, I think the most that we've seen is maybe 6 inches.
Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7 inches, and that was actually this year as well. In January.
Yeah. So the previous years, even when the kids were little and we had just moved here,
right?
I don't think that we were able to do that.
Right.
No sledding, not a whole lot. I think one time we had we were pulling them around in half an inch of
right.
behind the ATV or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too far into the live stream tonight, we want to thank a few people for helping us out. We've got our crew back.
Yes.
As always, the first is Rich and Shelly from Air to Ground Farms and Air to Ground Meats. They are going to be helping us kind of behind the scenes. Rich is going to be helping to find questions for us to answer and things like that. You guys, if you are ever in our area, in the Ava area of Missouri or southern Missouri, check out Rich and Shelly's shop in Ava. They have some of the best locally raised meat that you will ever consume. It will make you feel so good.
Yes.
And it'll make you feel so much healthier than anything you can get at the normal store.
Absolutely. And then also, our son-in-law, Gavin Reed, is helping moderate today. We really appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule. He is a realtor locally here and does a fantastic job.
Right.
His family and he have been here for many generations, so they really know the area.
Right.
His family also farms, and so they know about farm land, and he knows about homestead land and stuff. So if you are looking in our area, or potentially, there is his email address. You can get a hold of him and he can help you out. And he does a great job.
Yeah. And Gavin's married to our oldest daughter, Grace.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, everybody who's helping behind the scenes.
Yes.
So today we want to kind of piggyback off of the video that we just put out on Saturday. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Not right now, but after this. But basically, we want to talk about seed starting and what we're going to be growing this year in the greenhouse. Yeah. Specifically in the greenhouse.
Yeah. That video, we didn't start any seeds. And we didn't talk about seed starting or anything. But we talked about we actually came up with our plan for the greenhouse together on that video, which is something that we don't ever really do. We don't ever sit down and discuss together on camera. We basically do that off camera, and then we bring you the plan.
Right.
And a lot of you had said, gosh, how do you guys do that? And what does that discussion look like? And come to a consensus. And so we did that on video and determined what we were going to grow and how many and all that jazz. So, but there were lots of questions.
There were a lot of questions. And, some of them were about varieties of things that we're going to grow, why we're not growing certain varieties. So we thought we would... at first, we were going to pick questions from that video, but we decided we're just going to open it up for you guys to ask questions based on that video instead.
So we are hoping for you guys to ask questions in the comment section, and Rich will identify those for us, and we can get started.
Right.
So...
I just noticed now that we're sitting here that my
hair... talk about
my hair's starting to get a little out of control.
Let's just talk about the hair.
I've given up on haircuts for the winter. That's all there is to talk about. It's I'm going for the
the mountain man look?
Einstein. I was gonna say I was just saying, Mountain Man, Einstein. I feel much more like Einstein, I think.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay.
If I have to think of someone that reminds me of me, I would think it's Einstein.
I would think Mountain Man crossed with MacGyver.
That equals Einstein, I think.
Oh, well, it could be.
MacGyver was a pretty smart guy.
He was. Okay. Here is one about our video. I have not read these ahead of time, so we're just gonna go with it.
Right.
Okay. Hopefully it's appropriate. On Saturday's video, this is from June Rogg. Thank you, June. On Saturday's video, you said you were going to grow Jetstar slicing tomatoes. Where do you get the seeds? Do they have a great flavor? Also, large red or large cherry here. Am I gardener or what?
So the seeds for Jetstars we typically get from a company called Totally Tomato or Totally Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They are out of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And that's normally where we order any of our hybrid seeds from. Mm-hmm. That's kind of our go-to place for hybrid tomato and pepper seeds, really.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
And then as far as large red cherry, I think this last time I bought those from Totally Tomatoes as well.
I don't know. I thought we got them from Am I Gardener?
I don't
we really don't get seeds from very many places.
Right.
Our overall preference is Am I Gardener?
Right.
We like that company. We like the owners.
Right.
There's just a lot to like about them. The seeds are very affordable.
Right. I think the variety of large red cherry that Am I Gardener had is what I bought last year. Yes. And it was not exactly the same as what I traditionally get.
Correct.
So that's why we went back to Totally Tomatoes where we've gotten them in the past.
Okay.
And, shame on me for not just always having enough saved. I won't make that mistake again because I just assumed that they were a very common tomato to find and that the large red cherry would be the same from every place. And it doesn't seem like it was. So from now on, I'll just be saving my own seed from those. But I do think this year we got them from Totally Tomatoes.
Right. If you think about it, the name large red cherry is very generic.
Right.
So it would be easy for there to be multiples called large red cherry.
Right.
Whereas like the pepper Adjvarsky, which is my favorite red roasting pepper, it would be hard to come across like another pepper name because it's very unusual.
True.
So did we answer everything? It does have a great flavor, right?
Oh yeah. I think like I said in the video, if I only had to grow one tomato for the rest of my life, it would be the large red cherry because they're big enough that you can still make a lot of different things out of them. Sarah even cans them to make sauces and everything else, and we just have an abundance of them. Mm-hmm. So they're very good. They have more the taste of a full size slicing tomato. Mm-hmm. And then the Jetstars, gosh, if you're looking for what I think is the perfect tomato for like sandwiches and slicing, or just to like you take a big bite out of like an apple, the Jetstar is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's the kind that don't be wearing a good shirt when you're eating one, because chances are you're going to be covered in tomato juice by the time you're done.
Yeah.
But you'll also be covered in a big smile.
Oh. You love tomatoes so much.
I do. They're so good.
Okay, here we go. Ozark Homestead.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're around here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on soil blocks?
That's your deal there.
We have not done soil blocks in a long time because we, for many years, we were starting seeds for the farmers market, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to start like 3,000 of them in that way.
Correct.
So we went with the seed starting like the plug trays and stuff. When we were growing on a much smaller scale, I really loved using the soil blocks, and they did work really well. In fact, my very first solo video was how to make soil blocks with like 3 ingredients or something like that. Right. And it is still available on YouTube, and it's still a good video.
Right.
Although don't judge me on how I was on camera, because
how many times you say
I know. I think it was like the very first video I was ever in. So it's still out there. I still recommend it.
Right.
Now that we are going back to starting less seeds,
Right.
I may give that a try again.
Yeah.
Probably not this year, but I might do that next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we should talk about that for just a second.
We should. There are very many questions already.
Okay.
So you start that conversation.
Okay. So we have decided that we will not be coming back to the farmers market to do plant starts this year. We've just grown the homestead in other areas, and financially, it's better for us to focus our attention and our time in other things, specifically our cattle, because that pays a lot more of the bills on the homestead than the seed starts did. So, when we would start like 3,000 plus seeds for the farmers market, we would start those in January, and the farmers market really, the good selling part of the farmers market isn't until the beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May. So it's like, 4 or 5 months of work before you ever even get to the farmers market. And it just, when we sat down and figured out the amount of hours and everything else, it just wasn't making sense to do that. So we're going to go back. We're still going to start quite a few seeds because we have seeds, a lot for ourselves. We'll be starting some seeds for my mom and dad. I think we're going to be starting some seeds for Rich and Shelly. But as far as for sale, I don't think we're going to be doing much this year at all.
Right.
Instead, we're going to be completely redoing our cattle working facilities. We're going to hopefully be expanding our herd. And I think that's going to make a lot more financial sense for the homestead.
Yep.
So hopefully that all makes sense to you guys.
Right. This is a good question. We did not talk about this. This is from Sherlyn Histand. What soil do you use in the greenhouse buckets?
It's really a combination of things. It's mostly composted manure, potting soil, and some type of organic mulch or whatever compost we can find at the time.
I think generally when we're starting a new bucket, it's like half potting soil, half compost.
Right.
And then as the years go on, we supplement with either composted manure or
rabbit manure when we have it.
Yeah, we're going to have rabbit manure this year.
Right.
So that's what we use.
Yeah, and no specific brand, honestly. No. Normally, what I do is I look what I can get a good deal on at like Menards, and that's where we buy it. So
yes, for sure. Yeah. It looks like we have a super chat from Jim Alaska Geek Shell, $5.
Hey, thank you
so much.
Thank you, Jim.
He is asking about the Amish paste tomato. He said we grew them last year, got more green than fruit, too much nitrogen, waited too long to move to blooming fertilizer.
Probably.
Yes.
I mean, that's a classic sign.
Too much green on a tomato is definitely too much nitrogen.
Right. Yeah, you want to really dial the nitrogen back once you start to see blossoms.
Right.
So, yeah, probably. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming because the name is Alaska Geek that you're in Alaska, which I would imagine that means you also have a pretty short growing season. So you really need to be on top of, here we can kind of make a mistake, but we have such a long growing season, we'll probably recover from it. If you have a really short growing season, you need to be on top of that stuff right away.
Well, also if you have a really short growing season, which we did in Arizona, because it's like so hot.
Too hot.
Yeah.
The opposite problem of Alaska.
Right. We found 2 varieties worked really well for us in that short growing season. One of them was the Celebrity.
Right.
And the other was Early Girl.
Early Girl.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have a short growing season, check out those 2 varieties. They may do really well for you.
Yeah. And they didn't do as well here in Missouri.
No, we tried them thinking they were going to be the best everywhere, and we didn't end up liking them here. Yeah. This is interesting. Might be kind of a discussion for the 2 of us from Angels Homestead. Question for either of you. How do you plan for 2 people when one is in a big rig most of the time? So basically, if one of you is working full-time and away from the homestead, you still want to grow for 2 people, what's our best advice for that?
Well, I guess I'm not exactly clear what the question is. Are you saying like what types of things would preserve well?
No, I think she's asking like it's a lot of work.
Right.
And especially for just one person.
Okay.
If you are trying to grow for 2 people, but only have one person to do the work, what would our advice be?
Don't get in over your head. Right. I mean, just, do the best you can. and really focus on the things that you really know you're going to eat.
For sure.
Like, don't, like, I don't know, don't grow kale because does anybody ever eat kale?
We don't like kale, but there are people who really like kale.
Okay.
So some pieces of advice I would say, if you are going to be growing in the ground, use the woven weed fabric because you're going to save a lot of time, energy, and headaches fighting the weeds.
True. Good advice.
Yeah. And if and regardless of where you're going to grow, I would say, especially if you're new at gardening, I would say only start and grow like a few plants of all the things that you want to master or all the things that you want to start preserving for you to eat so that you don't get so overwhelmed. Like we have grown over 100 tomato plants in a year. Right. That, first of all, for us and even our family, that ended up being too much. Right. But it was a whole lot of work. It was a lot of work to plant and to keep alive and to harvest and preserve.
Right. And to be honest, a lot ended up going to waste because we were in over our heads and we just couldn't keep up with them.
Right. So my advice is use the woven weed fabric and start slowly and increase year after year based on your ability to keep up with everything.
Right.
And, you really do only have to grow. You'd be surprised how little you'd have to grow for 2 people.
Right. Yeah.
In order to really make a big difference in your grocery budget or whatever it is.
But really think about your diet and the things that you really do eat.
Right.
And then really focus on those things. Right. Because we've fallen into that trap. You're at the nursery or you're in front of the seed display and you see all this stuff and it looks really neat. And so you decide you're going to grow some and then you really don't do much with it anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So those are just a couple pieces of advice.
Yeah.
If anybody else has advice for her, put that in the comment section if you guys have any advice. I'm so sorry. I didn't read ahead. Dana Binkley. I'm up here in Benton County and we are supposed to get 10 inches of snow. It's still a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Last year I was intrigued that you grew peanuts and am considering it. Are you going to grow them this year?
Yeah, we are going to plan on growing them this year.
Yep.
Yeah. Now peanuts are not really great for our keto diet, but I do snack on them. Like we haven't shelled them or anything. They're all still just in a bowl. To be honest, we never even roasted them. They've hardened up really nice. So we've just been eating them raw and they're really good.
Yes.
I eat, just a couple a week or something, but so we're going to have plenty of left to plant again this year.
Yeah.
But we were amazed at how well they did. And one raised bed gave us, I don't know.
Gives a big old bowl of them.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
More than I would have ever guessed.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun and we'll definitely do them again.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. From Pond Hollow Orchards. What is the best paste tomato? Well, in my opinion, it is the Amish paste tomato.
Yeah.
Over the years, I have tried many, many different types of paste tomatoes, and overall,
the Opalkas you've liked in the past.
San Marzano, the what was that last one?
Salvatore Select.
Oh yeah, Salvatore Select. Those are all good ones.
Right.
But every year the Amish paste impresses me with their disease resistance and how big they get, and I just really like them overall.
Right.
But you know what? In your area, it might be different. So go ahead and just give some a try.
In general, we have found that paste tomatoes are just harder to grow, though.
They are. Their leaves are shaped differently. Their stems are a little bit thinner.
Right.
They do kind of succumb to the diseases earlier in the season.
Right.
But Amish paste is an heirloom.
Right.
And sometimes they're just not as hardy as the hybrids. I mean, the hybrids were invented for a reason, and one of them is disease resistance.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Margaret Duncan, slightly off topic, but what brand are your raised beds? I'm looking at buying a few, and how much soil/fertilizer did it take to fill them? I'm in the path of the storm also. Well, be safe.
Yeah.
The brand of our raised beds is Vegega.
Right.
Vegega.
Right. It's VEGEGA.
Yes.
There's another brand called Vigo that looks very similar, but but that's not the brand that we have. Ours are from Vajaga. We have a link in the description of all of our videos to where you can get them, and on our website, livingtraditionshomestead.com. I did so much research prior to us getting them in the first place, and I really did find in it, what I think they're the best. I mean, we've had them. Well,
this will be your third growing season with them, right?
No, second.
Oh yeah, because we filled them in the fall. That's
right.
That's what's throwing me.
But they're holding up really well so far. So
she also asked how much soil did it. Do you remember? Because we filled them with the tractor. I'm not sure if I can even answer that question.
I don't remember. I think actually on the Vajaga website they have a calculator.
Oh, good.
That tells you based on the size of the beds that you're buying, because you can buy them in all different sizes, all different shapes, heights, everything. So I think they have a calculator on their website that'll help you figure out how much soil you need.
This question from Just Me. Were you growing jet stars in Arizona?
We did. Yeah.
We did?
We did. Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that.
We would always buy them at, what was the name of that nursery? Summer Winds Nursery.
We did jet stars or celebrities?
No, we did jet stars also. But to be honest, in Arizona, they didn't do as well. But jet stars are what my mom always grew when I was growing up in Wisconsin. That was her favorite as well. So that's why I always knew that they were a good tomato.
Yeah.
But they didn't do well in Arizona. It was just different growing seasons.
Yeah.
But they sure do well here.
Oh, wait, sorry. I didn't, Rich did this. Jim Alaska Geek Shell, again, another $5 super chat. Thank you. He says he was raised in Alaska, now live in Wheatland, Missouri.
Nice.
Container garden, no greenhouse yet. Have shade cloth over the tomatoes. Should I add for the peppers?
I would.
I would too.
Yeah.
They're so susceptible to sun scald.
I think the reason that our tomatoes and peppers do so well in the greenhouse is because of the shade cloth. They can handle the heat, but they can't handle that intense sun.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't want to get into conspiracies, but it seems like the last 5 years or so, the sun has been
it has been much more intense.
And it's I really think that's the reason that the shade cloth helps so much. So yes, for sure, tomatoes and peppers, in our opinion, on our homestead now, will always be inside of the greenhouse because of the shade cloth. Yeah,
this is fun. It's not related to the topic, but we always go over this. From Bill Whittington. What's the drink of the week?
I am having raspberry lemonade.
It's a true lime lemonade.
True lime.
Mine is a true orange mango.
True. And they are sweetened with stevia, so they fit our low carb. But they're real ingredients, so
and we
nothing
do
artificial.
This is a quart jar, and this is we put one packet in this, but normally it'll tell you to use like
in a water bottle.
Yeah.
But we make it into a
ours
quart.
is much weaker.
It's still plenty strong.
It is very flavorful. Thanks, Bill. This is also off topic, but it's kind of fun, and you can talk a little bit about this. From Katie England. Kevin, what do you do to keep from getting bored when eating carnivore?
Cry.
Wine.
There really is more variety than you think when you're on carnivore. I mean, I make a lot of different meat sticks. There's a lot of the different egg recipes. We played around with some different carnivore like rolls and stuff like that. But to be honest, you just kind of get over it. Yeah. I did carnivore for all of January, and now I'm back to doing just low carb. But I don't know. I guess we mostly eat what we grow anyway. So other than giving up a few of the vegetables, it doesn't change a whole lot for us.
From, oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce this.
Dart.
I don't know
either.
Taft. Yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Normally I give it a try, and normally I'm pretty good because I've interviewed so many people in my lifetime. they said, I have been growing asparagus for 3 years now and want to harvest a bunch this year. But how much is too much to keep my plants healthy? So 3rd-year asparagus is still very young. And so in my opinion, I wouldn't harvest more than 50%.
Yeah.
And I would leave the rest for seed and like the growth of the roots and stuff. So I wouldn't take more than 50% of whatever it grows.
Asparagus is one of those things that you really need to be patient, which is not my strong suit. But it is one of those things that you really need to fight the urge to overpick it. So.
From Paul Chauvin, question. Started watching M.I. Gardner, learned a lot about grow lights. What do you use?
We use LED grow lights. They are the red and blue grow lights. So they kind of make like a purple light. At the time that I bought them 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, everybody was saying they were the best thing ever. And they do a good job. I think it's kind of annoying having the purple light.
It is very harsh on your eyes.
Yeah. In fact, when we're in our sprout house working, I normally put a curtain up in front of them to block the light from our eyes. If I had to do it again, I would go back to just white LED grow lights. I don't think in my opinion, at least on the scale we're doing things, it doesn't seem like the red and blue have made much of a difference, if at all. So we just use it. They're 4-foot long LED grow lights, and I have enjoyed. For years and years we just used fluorescent bulbs, and they worked okay too. But you have to babysit them a lot more because you have to really raise them up with the plants. Where the LEDs are so bright and powerful that you can pretty much keep them higher the whole time.
Do we have those in our Amazon shop? I don't recall.
I would imagine we do, but I'll check later, and if we don't, I'll put them in there.
Okay.
If they're still available.
Jackie Dotson says, Juliet tomatoes are hard to find in my area. Do you recall where you got the seeds? We've had to go to different places over the years.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure
Totally Tomato has carried them in the past.
I'm going to look on my phone. So you talk.
Oh, okay. Well, Totally Tomato has carried them in the past, and that's originally where we got them from. Sometimes they don't carry what we're looking for, and because we've really fallen in love with certain varieties over the years, if we can't find them from like M.I. Gardner or Totally Tomato, which they wouldn't be at M.I. Gardner because they're a hybrid.
Right. Totally Tomatoes does have them, says in stock.
Oh, great.
So there you go.
Well, I can just stop rambling about that.
Totally Tomatoes.
Totally Tomato has them. Okay, great.
Yeah, like I said, that's our go-to place for most of our hybrid seeds.
Yeah.
Tomatoes and peppers anyway.
For sure. Tic Tac says, I noticed no Jalapeno or the habanero that were less spicy. Oh, those were the habanadas.
Habanadas, yeah.
Do you still like them?
Yes, absolutely. Especially the habanadas. They were really good last year. The reason we didn't specifically talk about those in the video is because we didn't buy seeds for those because we're only doing like 1 or 2 plants. Last year, we actually bought those at that Amish nursery we were talking about. And I'm assuming that they're going to have them again this year. So
we do have 2 open spots.
Right. That's why I left some open spots so that we can do some of those again. So.
But why not why not the Jalapenios this year?
I don't know.
You know what? I didn't even think about them when we were planning.
No. So maybe we will do them again this year.
Because you really like to eat those when you're snacking.
Right.
In the greenhouse.
Yeah.
We'll have to remember that.
Occasionally, I like to snack while we're outside working.
I think like 25% of everything we grow is for you to snack on when you're outside. That's okay.
Yeah. You need energy while you're working.
Jacqueline Goodchild says, what size pots are you using for the greenhouse?
They are, so what we use mainly is what are called Crystalix tubs. They are used protein tubs from cattle. So when we buy, or we actually buy them from some of our neighbors as well, our cattle, they use these big protein tubs, and all winter long they'll lick the contents of them out. By spring they're empty, and then they make a perfect planter. And they are 24 inches across and 18 inches tall. And then we drill holes usually 4 holes around the bottom, about 2 inches off the ground.
Yeah. Not on the bottom.
Not on the bottom, on the sides,
Right.
about 2 inches off the ground and about a 1.5 inch hole.
Yeah.
So good drainage.
Let me see. Cindy Jimenway, Amish paste or San Marzano? I say Amish paste, as we said before. Where do you get Nadapeño seeds? Thank you. Originally, we got them from Baker Creek.
Correct.
But I can't remember where we've gotten them.
I think that's the only place we've ever gotten them, honestly.
There are other companies that have not spicy jalapenos.
Right.
They're just named something different.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, and actually, I was going to say, I don't think the last time I looked for them on the Baker Creek website, I don't think they had them. So I don't know.
It's hard to keep up because they change a lot.
Yeah.
This is interesting from El Patron Raton. Would you try aquaponics system for lettuce salad with rainbow trout? I didn't know that aquaponics systems have ever done rainbow trout.
Right.
I only knew of them with tilapia or bluegill or something.
A couple of years ago, I was looking into aquaponics and I had highly considered it. Probably not. Yeah. We do so much growing already. It would just be another thing that would take time. And time is short. So
right.
Probably not, although I think there are a lot of situations and a lot of climates where aquaponics is great. So I've nothing against it. It's just, to me, our plate is full already, right. And I don't think we have time to add to it right now.
I personally would rather get into bees before aquaponics.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rich. I didn't even see you put that up there. Thank you. From Tic Tac, $5. Thank you. They said, thanks for sharing your videos. Been watching for at least 4 years. Also for answering my question. God bless.
God bless
Thank you so much. My crazy Ozark life. Have you ever grown Cherokee purple tomatoes?
We have. And they did okay.
Yeah, they were fine.
I think the flavor is very good, but they didn't do exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of people really love.
I know. They almost have a cult following.
Right.
You know, like people really like them.
Right.
I think they're fine.
Right.
I have nothing against them. I have nothing against any tomato, let's be honest. So I think they're fine. They just weren't
exceptional here for us.
Right.
I remember they didn't grow as vigorously as, the Jet Stars, but Jet Stars are a hybrid.
Right.
Because they're not a red tomato, we couldn't quite get the hang of when the perfect ripeness was for them.
Right.
And oftentimes we would allow them to get too ripe and then they were mushy.
Right.
So we just kept growing the stuff that we love to grow, and that didn't end up being one of them.
Right.
From Rob, what are your thoughts on green stalks? My wife wants more, but I'm not sold on them.
Well, we've never had one, but all the videos that we've seen other people do about them look really good. And to be honest, we've actually talked just within the last couple of weeks, actually, while we were on our little break, we had talked about maybe getting 1 or 2 for out on our porch, just for growing some herbs and maybe a little bit of lettuce closer to the house, things like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd be wanting to know why you're not sold on them and why your wife wants more. So,
I have seen some photos of a green stalk planted 100% with the same color petunias. And it's just the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. I think if I got a green stalk, I for sure would plant one entire thing of petunias because they're so beautiful.
Can you eat petunias?
No, but they're beautiful.
Okay.
And that counts. But I think they would be good for like lettuce. It would be good for cilantro and some other fast growing plants that don't get humongous.
Right.
There are limitations with them because they're growing space for the roots.
My biggest concern with them here is our wind.
Yes.
We have so much wind. I think we would need to figure out a way to attach it some way.
We would have to attach it like to the porch railing or something.
Right. To the car. We need something heavy to hold it up.
So green stalks for the win for your wife. Question from Annie. When a seed packet says the seeds need darkness for germination, is the soil that covers the seed good enough, or does it need to be in a dark room? I would say it would need more than just
the soil.
Seed. Yeah, the soil.
Well, especially like carrots and things like that. Like you can cover them. Like if you're planting them right in the raised bed, you could put a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood or something over them. I'm thinking maybe that's what she's talking about.
A lot of times the seeds that require darkness to germinate are surface sown. Now that's not going to be 100%, but a lot of times they are. So you're definitely going to want to cover them.
Right.
But I also don't see what the harm would be to cover them anyway, even if they're a seed that you put underneath the soil.
Right. Right. Unless it specifically says it needs light to germinate.
Right.
Then there's nothing really wrong as long as they're getting watered and you don't want to cover them with something that's going to hold in so much moisture that they rot.
Right. Rich, Bub is on edge today. I'm not sure why he's on edge.
He knows the storm is coming, I think.
Oh, he's so intuitive. No, that's not why. Rich put the banner up reminding you all and us that it is past 6:30. And so it's kind of like open Q&A. So it doesn't all have to be about the greenhouse or planting. So it can be about anything. And
within reason.
Yes.
Anything within reason.
And appropriate. There have already been some questions that have been kind of off topic. So I'll start with a couple of those.
Okay.
Regarding the preparedness for the winter.
Okay.
Tracy Buring asked, what did you do specifically to get ready for the winter storm?
Well, I went to the feed store, stocked up on some extra feed because we were actually getting low on a few things, which is rare for us.
Right.
So I got a few things that we were out of. I filled all of the feed containers where all of the animals are. I brought extra firewood up to the house, like quite a bit, at least a week's worth of firewood up to the house.
We fed hay.
We fed hay to everybody who needed hay. Well, even if they didn't quite need it yet, we fed today, so we don't have to feed tomorrow in 16 inches of snow. I put a couple extra hay bales around kind of strategically that in case the tractor won't start or we just can't get through with the tractor, we can roll them. So we did that.
We rearranged the shop.
We rearranged the shop.
To put more things in there, including our vehicles.
Correct.
Yeah, just in case.
Right.
What
else did we do?
We brought so while we were on break, we put our bull and our steer that lives in the bull in with Babe, our dairy cow, so she can get bred.
Correct.
Well, I don't think she's coming into heat in the next 3 days. So we separated them and put Babe and Sylvester, her calf, up by the barn so that they can get in cover because the beef cows are just fine out there in all the snow and the cold. We're also going to get a super duper cold spell.
Right.
But dairy cows are just a little bit more fragile.
Right. Especially the calf.
Yeah. So we brought them up by the barn so they can get into the lean-to and just be warmer and stuff like that. So that's really the
that was the other thing we did. We filled water troughs.
Yeah.
And some of our water troughs have de-icers in them.
Yeah, little
heaters in them. So we made sure those were all working good. So just everything we could think of to possibly get ready and to make the next few days easier.
Yeah. This is a common question today. Okay. This is from Deetra Robinson. Did anyone get a donkey over the break?
No, you are still looking at a guy who does not own a donkey. So we'll see.
David Ward, do you process your own beef?
We do not process our own beef.
Don't.
We just don't have the facilities to take care of something that big. So as far as hanging it and all of that. And our weather here is too unpredictable, even in the winter. We might have a week of, cold weather, but we'll get a random, 2 weeks ago, like while we were on our break, we had 2 or 3 days that were in the 70s.
Yep.
We actually went up to the lake and took the boat up to the lake for a
Yep.
couple days,
Yep.
or not a couple days. We took the boat up to the lake, and during that couple day stretch of 70-degree weather. So that stuff happens here. So it's to think that we might have to hang something outside for, an extended period of time. And then in the middle of that, we could get a 70-degree day. That would not be good.
Exactly.
So no, the short answer to that is we take them to the processor.
Hannah Rose asks, are you guys still doing keto, and are you going to incorporate more keto-friendly items in your garden and eliminate non-keto foods? I'm currently carnivore, but growing vegetables for my family.
Yes. In fact, over the last several years, we've really changed the garden around to be more keto-friendly. Yep. We no longer grow sweet potatoes. We no longer grow regular potatoes, sweet corn, watermelons. Yeah. Although I think we are going to grow some real small watermelons this year, just so we can have 1 or 2 small ones over the summer for ourselves, and the rest we'll give away. But yes, we've definitely changed the things in the garden to accommodate a keto life.
Yes. Randy Sapansky, do you have any trouble with snow on your high tunnel?
We have never had trouble with it, but we've never gotten snow like this.
Right.
So I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. Now our high tunnel has a ton of bracing in it because of the amount of wind that we get here. We needed it to be very, very strong. Our homestead, and where the high tunnel is specifically, is on top of a hill, and we get a lot of wind in the spring. So I don't think we're going to have an issue, but we've never gotten snow like this.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see in the next couple days.
Anna Billings is asking for an update on your dad.
He's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, my mom had the flu, and now my dad has the flu. So they're both kind of getting over that. But for the most part, he's doing.
I would say he's stable.
Yeah.
And that is great.
Right.
This is interesting. From Baby Root, how many states did you look at to move to, and why did you pick Missouri?
We looked at a lot. I don't think anything was off. Right. Well, okay.
There were some
states that were ruled out right away. But within like the Midwest, let's put it that way. Within the Midwest, we looked at like everything.
Yeah.
And really the South as well.
Really, originally we were thinking, hey, maybe we could stay in Arizona.
Correct.
But then just move north.
Move to northern Arizona. Because the climate's
better. It's like high desert. It's definitely better than Phoenix.
Right.
But we realized quickly that they don't really have water there. And there are some areas up there that at the time, now we haven't lived there in almost 9 years, but at the time, their major aquifer was dry.
Correct.
And they were bringing in oil drilling equipment to try to dig down farther to see if they could get to more water.
Right.
I don't really know how that ended up, but so we really just kind of continued moving north and then just away from the states that had more restrictions than we were willing to move to.
Right.
And ended up really in Missouri and came here to visit, and then visited on a family vacation, and really ended up falling in love with it.
Right.
Investigated the laws.
Right. The main things that we were looking for is we wanted a place with low regulations, which here, especially in the county that we're in, is very low. Low taxes, which again, this fit all those boxes. We wanted access to a lot of water because coming from the desert, we understood the importance of water. This area has a lot of water, fairly. I mean, at the time, land prices were fairly inexpensive. Now, like everywhere, they've exploded over the last 10 years. So, it depends what your idea of inexpensive is. If you're coming from California, the land is still inexpensive here. If you're coming from some other places, it may just be on par with everywhere else. But those were what we were looking for, and Missouri checked all those boxes.
Right. This is fun. from Joe Craddock. Can you eat pickled eggs on carnivore?
Heck yeah.
Are there carbs in vinegar?
I mean, okay, let's say this. If you were really if you were doing hardcore carnivore, the answer would probably be no. But I would still eat them on carnivore and not, because I still allow myself some seasonings, salt, pepper, some things like that. I wouldn't think vinegar would be a big deal.
If you're sweetening the vinegar, though, that would be huge.
No. Yeah, no. Now, I have made pickled eggs with stevia, and now that wouldn't be carnivore.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't know. The answer is yes, just don't tell anybody.
Gretchen Rodriguez asks, where do you get the true powder?
On Amazon.
Yeah. We get like a multi-flavor pack all in one. We get like 7 flavors, 9 flavors or something in a pack.
So they look like this. Like that's the one Sarah's drinking right now. But there's all different flavors. So, but they're made with like freeze-dried actual ingredients, not chemicals.
Right.
And they're good. So,
and I think they
we try to limit ourselves to one a day.
Yeah. We I think they end up being like 50 cents or less a packet, which it seems good.
Right.
This is pretty good. This is good. Anna Yoder. I just got a greenhouse. Can you explain the shade cloth again for the greenhouse? Like, why do you use it and what?
So the one that we use is a 50% shade cloth, I believe, 50%. So it blocks out 50% of the sun's rays. So it doesn't seem to me like it makes a whole lot of difference with heat, like especially in the summer, because we keep the greenhouse open all summer. So temperature wise, it's just about the same as outside. But what it does is it cuts that just intense sun off. So it's kind of like wearing a shirt, like instead of that intense sun hitting your shoulders all day, yes, you're still going to be warm, but it's just taking that kind of sting off. So that's really why you want to use a shade cloth. Now here in our area, we put our shade cloth up typically in March, around the end of March, and we take it down around the end of October. Now this year, because we decided to take the winter off from growing, we actually left it up over the winter, which I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. Whoever was asking earlier about the snow on the greenhouse, I'm a little more nervous because we left the shade cloth up, because I have noticed that by leaving the shade cloth up over winter, the snow and stuff is sticking more on top of the greenhouse. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that doesn't prove to be a bad decision to make, but that's what we did. Because we weren't going to grow in it anyway, we decided just to leave the shade cloth on all winter.
Yeah. Big Mammal asked, are Amish paste okay for slicing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just not going to be juicy, super juicy.
Yeah, they're going to be.
Yeah, there are people who use paste tomatoes for like everything.
Oh, sure.
Because they're just not so juicy. Yeah. If you use a slicing tomato to make.
I think I saw Rich raising his hand. That he likes them.
I think they might grow only Amish paste this year.
Oh, really?
I think that they might be maybe a couple cherry tomatoes, but mostly they were impressed.
Yeah, the Amish paste have a very good taste. They are just not very juicy, which may be. It's a kind of eat an Amish paste while you're wearing your church clothes because you don't want to get all dirty, and a Jetstar when you get home and you don't care anymore.
Oh my goodness! There you go. There you go. Logic from Kevin. There you go. Tony Nav asks, have you grown sunchokes?
No.
Yes.
Well,
they're also called Jerusalem artichokes.
Right. They grow wild here.
They do. And we've grown them, and I grew some in a bucket for several years, and I had intentions of putting them in the ground. But I never found the perfect place, so they ended up dying. But also the ground here is so hard that you're going to get like really long, spindly artichoke parts, which are going to be hard to peel and hard to cook. Right. So yes, we weren't super successful, but it is good survival food and emergency food that you can just plant in the ground. And
we have grown them. We just haven't really tried hard.
Right. True. Oh, Jim Alaska Geek Shell, another $1. Thank you. Hashtag donkey for Kevin.
And a mini horse for Sarah.
Let's keep it.
Did I? I must have.
I think we talked about
we talked about the mini horse. So we were at a parade, our Christmas parade here in town, and someone walked by with a mini horse, and Sarah's like, "A mini horse? We should get a mini horse." And I'm like, "What about a donkey?"
I think I said I would do a mini horse before a donkey. But what's the purpose of a mini horse either? See, now like the practical part of my brain comes back. Like,
right. Donkeys are so much better.
Turkey hunting? Do you turkey hunt?
No. I mean, I see turkey while I'm out deer hunting, but I don't intentionally go turkey hunting.
Jim also says that he always feels guilty about spending time in the woods and out on the lake crappie for crappie spawn. Should be planting. Yeah, but come on, you gotta live, you gotta relax. Right. You're talking to people who don't do that well or often.
I'll tell you, this year we are making fishing a priority.
We are.
Because I miss fishing a lot. And so this year it is going to be more of a priority for us to get out. And we've got a boat that we barely ever use. And this year we're going to use it a lot.
Yes, that is our goal.
Right.
Let's see. Here's a good question for you. I know you'll have a good answer to this. Linda Lundy. I'm having trouble finding small quantities of Juliet tomato seeds this year. Any recommendations?
Yeah, totally tomatoes. In fact, when I was just looking at them, there's come 10 seeds in a packet.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Right.
I was going to say if she could only buy them in big quantities, that she could put the ones that she doesn't use this year in the freezer and use them last year or next year.
10 seeds for $3.95.
Yeah.
So there you go. Totally tomatoes.
Yep. Good job. Here's one for me specifically from Debbie Thompson. Have you ever taken home canned tomato or tomato sauce and freeze dried them? If yes, how? I have not, but you can. I would.
You can.
I would drain out the liquid and then just put them on your trays. I would probably pre-freeze them so that they don't explode in your freeze dryer because of all the natural sugars that are in there. And then, once they're done, just package them up and it'll be great. Yeah,
I don't see why it would be any different than freeze drying prior to canning.
Right. And honestly, you might have less risk of explosion after they've been canned because they've been cooked. Right. And a lot of times you get that kind of explosion from the fresh sugars in the tomatoes.
True.
Yeah. Good question. Bob Thomas. Last year in my raised beds, I had saw bugs or roly-polies, and everything I planted were ruined. What do I do?
That's an interesting comment because last year we had a ton of roly-polies in our raised beds as well, and we've never had that before. We've had them before, but never to a point where they caused any damage. And last year there were so many. I think on some of our green beans, we had to replant like 3 times to get our green beans to grow because the roly-polies were eating the green beans.
They were eating the seeds before they would even germinate. And then after they would germinate, they would eat all the leaves off of them.
Right.
And so we did have such a hard time. And the only thing that we tried that didn't even really work that well was diatomaceous earth on top of the ground.
The problem with the diatomaceous earth is as soon as you water,
I know.
It crusts over, and then you either need to do it again or so
the bad news is we don't have a solution.
No, and like I said, in all the years we've been gardening, last year was the very first year we've ever had a problem with the roly-polies where they actually hurt plants.
Well, in the past we've read, roly-polies, they only eat the decaying stuff. They're good for the in the garden, and they're good for then they started eating all our plants.
Well, that's because there were a million of them.
There were so.
I don't know.
Let's
hope that maybe this extra cold winter we're having this year will kill off a lot of them, and we won't need to worry about them as much next year.
Yeah. Matthew Boober is asking, how is the bull's hoof doing?
Great. Yeah. It healed up fine and no problems since then. So, yeah, he's doing great.
Okay. Heidi DeShazo. I have lettuce planted and it's going into freezing. Are they going to be safe?
If they're mature, and I mean, it depends how freezing.
Right. How cold.
If they're mature, they'll probably be fine down to 20 degrees or so.
Yeah.
You know, I would throw something over them if you can. If it's going to get colder than that for any extended period of time,
yes,
you may lose them.
You definitely will have more success if you cover them.
Correct. But you know, we a couple of years ago, we thought we lost all of our lettuce. Like it had frozen solid on top. All of it died, and like 2 weeks later, it all came back up from the roots.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember that?
Julie Cummings, did you check your well house?
Thanks for the reminder. Yes, I did actually.
Did you really? We talked about it, but I didn't know you actually did.
Yes, but I do plan on going out and checking it a couple times a day during this next cold stretch.
Yeah, so I actually got scared this morning because I turned the water on in the mud room to fill up the milk bucket or whatever, and it didn't come on all the way. And I was like, oh no, do we have partial frozen pipes? And I got scared, but I just hadn't turned it on all the way. Ding dong. But anyway, it got me thinking in preparation for all this that we need to do that. So good.
But thank you for the reminder. You saw the video last year where I didn't check it and everything froze. So
that could have been horrible. We caught it early.
Right.
Jones Z28 asks, is raising meat chickens worth it, or should a person stay or keep on with meat rabbits? Stay to meat rabbits.
I think they're worth it. I think I'm trying to think back to, especially when we raised Cornish cross, what ended up being more economical. I think they're about the same, honestly, but the Cornish cross grow faster. So,
and you get way more. Cornish cross will eat more, but you'll get way more like poundage, way more meat per chicken than you will per rabbit.
Right.
Rabbits are going to take 10 to 12 weeks to get to butcher size. But if you raise them on the ground in a rabbit tractor, you can save 50% of their feed if you move them every day on the grass. So
I would continue to do both.
Yes.
Really. It's good to have variety in your diet.
And that's security too. If something happens,
security. Right.
Good question. There is another super chat from Jesse Mann, $9.99. Thank you. Didn't know you were streaming tonight. Missed y'all. Well, you know what? When we're done, you can start from the beginning and watch it all.
Yeah, I was quite charming at the beginning.
You were.
I have to say.
You were so charming. Yeah.
No, thank you so much,
Worth
Jesse.
the watch. Worth the watch. Thank you again. What? That isn't what I clicked on, but we'll read it.
Okay.
Bonnie Kruger, will you eat the fish you catch? I'm originally from Wisconsin too. Woohoo! And I'm in Wisconsin, you usually eat what you catch. I'm in North Carolina now, and it seems everyone here throws them back.
No, I will eat what I catch.
Yes.
Because we don't.
If it's a legal size and a decent, decent kind of fish.
Right. Yeah.
No, we're not even throwing them back.
I'm not throwing them back. I love fish, and we will eat what we catch. And we don't catch enough. I mean, you know, if we lived 10 minutes from the lake and I could go every single day, which I would if we lived 10 minutes from the lake, then I might throw some back. But with the little bit we get to go, if I catch them, I'm eating them.
That's right.
Mostly what we want, I'm talking while she pick out a question. We're going for crappies, walleyes, and catfish.
And I like bluegill.
And bluegill in the summer when the bluegill really like the hot weather.
Yeah. From Janelle Sarah, do you two do intermittent fasting along with your keto lifestyle?
We do. We fast from 6 p.m. until normally 11 a.m., but lately we've really been pushing that more, and we really do it from about 6 p.m. until noon or 1 o'clock the next day. So we do intermittent fast quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about what we've really been trying. So we've been trying at the noon meal time to just have a very small meal, like
right.
more like
a snack
style, and then have our meal for dinner or
right.
supper,
right.
whatever you call it.
Right.
So that's kind of
so not really one meal a day, but like one meal and a snack a day.
Yeah,
is what we have been doing, and because winter's tough. Because you're not nearly as active, and I'll be honest, we're not workout kind of people, really. I mean, occasionally we do, and
but we've gotten out of it.
Right, and in the nice weather, I'll go for a walk almost every day. Our hayfield is 1 mile around our hayfield. I'll do that. But this time of year, it's easy to just kind of be more sedentary. And so in order to maintain our weight, we've switched to like one meal and a snack a day.
From Mariah Becker, what plant was the most difficult to leave out of the garden this year?
I would say there's two things that we haven't grown now in a couple years. For me, watermelons. Well, I guess we are going to try some, but the big watermelons, because I enjoy growing them.
Yeah.
So big watermelons and sweet corn.
Sweet corn. Okay, we're from Wisconsin, and sweet corn is like so amazing in Wisconsin in the summer.
Yeah.
Growing up, we could go down, you could like drive down the highway or whatever.
Right.
And several family farms would just be selling them on the side of the road, like by their driveway. You could easily get a dozen for $2.
Right.
And with like a ton of butter and salt and everything. I love sweet corn. I could have a whole meal of just sweet corn, nothing. Probably four cobs or 5.
True. Sweet corn and a big fried batch of crappies. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Speaking of sweet corn, have you ever done deep fried sweet corn on the cob?
Oh my gosh. When we lived in Texas, I had an uncle who lived there, and he taught us how to make deep fried sweet corn. So you bread it almost like fish, and then you deep fry it. Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
It's so good. Not good for you, but so good.
It's so good. Yeah. Well, I was treating that last question as our final question.
Well, let's take one more.
Okay.
Because Rich has the sign up there. We need one more question.
Okay, let's try this.
Okay.
From Sea Salt. I know you guys love pepper plants.
I bet that's not their real name.
Probably not. Have you tried Carolina Reapers yet?
No, we have. Have we? No, I don't think we have tried California Reapers. California Reapers. I haven't tried California Reapers either. No. Carolina Reapers. No, we have not tried them yet. I would.
Are they?
Yeah, they're like one of the hottest. I think the hottest now is like Pepper X or something like that. But yes, they're one of the hottest.
I'm not a fan of burn your face off hot peppers. Face or other end. Right.
Yeah, I'm past the point of my life where I need to prove anything by like eating a whole one and any of that. But I like really hot sauce. So
yeah, probably not.
I would grow them, and I would have Sarah make some hot sauce for me.
I would make the hot sauce,
and she would probably make me try it on a video.
Maybe.
So
sounds like something I'd do. Well, that was it. And we're so glad that you stopped by to spend some time with us. If you didn't join us from the beginning, totally worth going to watch it again.
Right.
We appreciate it if you do that.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We really do enjoy these live streams and just getting to spend some time with you. If you think of it, keep us in your prayers over the next few days. Yes. Not just us, but everybody that's getting hit with this winter storm, because it's moving through big parts of the country.
And not only is it going to dump a bunch of snow, but then it's going to get so cold.
Yeah.
Like so cold.
Right. And and here, like, places like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, they hear, a foot of snow. It's not that big of a deal, but we don't get that here, and we're not equipped for it. So it can be a much bigger deal here. Right. So,
and we don't have the budget for lots of snowplows either. So basically it's like the snowplow will come down your road like once a day or once every couple days.
Right.
So anyway, I do also want to do a second thank you to those who are helping us today. Rich and Shelly from Air to Ground Farms and Air to Ground Meats. Thank you for helping us.
Yes.
And our son-in-law, Gavin Reed, he's been helping us as well. We really appreciate you guys. And honestly, this would not run as smoothly without them.
Correct. That is definitely true.
So
thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you back next Monday.
Yes.
And until then, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for stopping by, and God bless.
God bless.